All right, we are back. I probably oh shoot, I didn't even look at the time again. My kid, I don't know. Sometimes he wants to get out. He leaves at 4 o'clock. Sometimes he waits until 4:30. So I'll make the best of this possibly only 20 minutes. I was just telling them that on my like in my camera class, we were kind of have like a little discussion and stuff afterwards that my day is kind of weird now because I have to go pick up my little cousin, and she gets out at 1:50, so I have to leave here by like 1:40. I come back, I maybe have like a good 15-20 minutes before I have to then go and pick up Zainimani. Once I get him, I maybe have like um it seems like it should be like an hour by the time I get him, like at 3:05, and then it's like 4:05, 4:20. Like it seems like I should have it by the time I drive home, whatever, get him settled, like get him a snack. It's like maybe like 30 minutes. It seems like it's like 30 minutes, 30, 45 minutes. So I have like only these like small chunks of time where it's to me harder to get things done from like 1:30 to 4:30. I only have like small chunks. So I have to kind of figure out how to balance that. But that's a part of entrepreneurship and kind of our discussion for today and the things that people don't openly talk about when it comes to entrepreneurship. I kind of hinted at this a little bit earlier today when I was like, some people talk about struggles or things that they're going through, some of the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of business. But like when it's the downside of it, most don't talk about it while they're in the storm, while they're going through it. They want to have this testimony instead of testifying through it. They just want to have a testimony. And I'm kind of the opposite. Like I like being open. Like I want people to know what could happen. It's not that everything that's happening to me will happen to you. If I'm experiencing it, it's gonna automatically happen. But when you know that, hey, this does happen and people can come out on the other side of it, and you're seeing how they work through it, I think that it helps others when they reach, if they reach that point, or they face something in their business, in their life, it helps them kind of get through it and navigate it because they have a reference point. So I was like, I want to kind of sit and discuss some of the things that, we just experience as business owners. And my phone is going to go dead. So I'm going to grab, hold on, y'all. I don't have my actual charger in my office, but my what's this thing, my Samsung hard drive uses the same type of charger. Now it's going to charge slow as molasses. At this thing says 9 hours, but at least it won't go completely dead. So oh, but I needed it to share. Okay, I may have to run and go get my charger because I was going to try and share this out, but I need a charger. So please hold, talks amongst yourselves, let folks know, don't leave, she's coming back. All right. But I'll be right back. I gotta go get this charger. All right. Whew. I actually need to order another cord. I have the base, but the cord shorted out, or I think I ran over or something happened, got pinched. So I need to order another cord for in my office because I have base part of it, just the cord. But anywho, let's go ahead and get this, oh Jesus, shared out. I'm my own producer, and when I'm doing like my content and my live videos, one of these days I will have someone that's doing these things while I'm live that I actually trust to be on my social medias, where they're able to like share it out and I can just continue to talk and I don't have to share it out myself. But I ain't quite there yet, okay? We're not there yet where I trust someone to have access to my social media where they could actually go in and share things. So yeah. All right, let's go on here so that we can share this all out. How are you guys doing? Entrepreneurship has so many ups and downs and has so many highs and lows. So let's talk about it. All right, group. Okay, there we go. We are all shared out. And now I just need to go back to the regular post so that I can actually see comments from those over on Facebook, because I don't get to see them. If you're watching this from a group, you have to click on the video in order for me to see your comment. If you comment just on the group post, I probably won't see it till later. It's not that I'm ignoring you. I just don't see it until later unless I actually click on like a notification. So yeah. All right, but let's get into this. Hello, hello, hello. Incredible greetings. I am Shakia, the professor of HSA 365. And for 10 years, I have been coming on this here these apps, Facebook and YouTube are my two primary, because I like long form content. I like to talk y'all ears off. Like, I like to just share the highs, the lows, my experiences, my knowledge. And so I choose to this platform. I used to be one where I was live 3-4 times a day, pretty much 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. I was on these apps just sharing my knowledge. If it was silhouette related, how many silhouette users, even if you're watching the playback of this, let me know if you are a silhouette user, if you are a Cricut user, if you are what's the other one that I have? A Caesar, whether it's Juliet or Romeo. If you are a StarCraft solo, do you have a Roland? Do you have a US cutter? Yes, I literally have all those cutting machines. So between all of my machines, I have 8 different silhouette machines. So I have 7 different Cameo. Oh, wait, I have a red one now. So I actually have 9. Ooh, I didn't think about that. I have 9 different silhouette machines. I have a StarCraft solo that I've only used like once, if that. I have a Caesar Romeo 24-inch one. I've used that one maybe about 10 times. I have my Roland BN20, which I absolutely love, especially as a printer. I'm not using as much as a cutter anymore. I just use it as a printer pretty much. So I have that one. And then I have my US cutter. So I have that one. So that was what I said, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 cutting machines. It's kind of crazy. And I'm always on the fence on whether or not I want to get a Cricut machine, because I will say Cricut supports their creators and things of that nature. They understand that a lot of their business comes from UGC, and so they embrace it. They support that, and some of the other platforms don't quite yet. If well, maybe they do. I just say, in 10 years, I've never, gotten that call. But I've thought about getting like the Cricut, because people do ask me about it. I teach the program itself, but when it comes to like troubleshooting what's going on with the machines, I can never really help with that because I don't have an actual Cricut machine. But I've still been like doing that. Of course, we know that I have a sublimation paper and ink line. So I've helped people when it comes to sublimation and getting started with it and understanding it and learning the temps and times and pressures of things from shirts to MDF boards and tumblers and mugs and all the things. When it comes to design program, that's where I got started at 26 years ago with Adobe products. So I love my Photoshop. Although I wasn't really teaching it, I do have like a essentials or like foundational Photoshop class. And then of course now we teach like Canva. We go over business and just the things that I have discovered in business over the years, things that work for me may or may not work for you, things that didn't work for me, but they might work for you. I'm just always sharing those things. And I like to connect with people to help them with information that they otherwise would not have access to. There's a lot of because I am a self-proclaimed, and I'm very proud of it, although it rubs some people the wrong way until they need the knowledge that I have attained. I am a know-it-all. Like, I'm very, very nosy. I ask a lot of questions. I research a lot of things. I dive into it. I just obsess the things that I am interested in. And I just it's just like, I just have to know. Like, I go in, I obsess over it. I'm like reading so many different things, researching, taking notes, trying things out. So I am a very proud know-it-all, even though some people, you try to use it in a negative way, like against me. I like being a know-it-all, okay? I just like knowing things. And so I will go and I will research things. And even if it doesn't fully apply to me, like, I want to know because I might need that information and that knowledge like later on. So I just obsess over information and knowledge. And I just like to be able to help others because some people don't have that privilege. Like, I am lucky that I get to be a work from home wife and mom. So it gives me a little bit more flexibility in time. And if I kind of stay up late, binge watching or binge learning things, I get to sleep in. I had, a husband that was working, and then like the pandemic happened and he worked, within the company, and then he decided to go back out where he's working for like Inter Miami and all of those things. Like, now it's like crazy hectic for them waiting for this new stadium to open up. So he's a part of literally the building phase and setting everything up for Inter Miami's new stadium here. But it's like being able to not always have to worry about being the bread and butter and like having to provide for the family. So it gives me a little bit more freedom so I can do certain things. And by association, those who follow me, those who are in my classes, like, they're able to get that information because I've done the hard work, I've done the grunt work, and I've gone out and I've researched, and I'm able to then break it down in a way where people understand. And today, even though I didn't have as many people like in our morning session for the Canva class, when people were saying that, like that was like, oh God, that just made my heart smile. When they're just like, you just have this very unique way, and you have this great way of like breaking it down and showing us things and making us think outside the box, showing us things I would have never thought to do it that way. So that did a lot for me internally, because we go through things as entrepreneurs. Like, everything is not peaches and cream. There are some times where we just want to give up. Like, and it's okay to talk about that. Some people, when you say like it's overwhelming and it's this, they want to just throw scripture at you and God wouldn't put more on you than you could bear. But it's like, I am not God. I am still human. Like, he made me in a fleshly body and he gave me these emotions. And, it's not that I don't have faith, but, for a moment, I'm still human. Like, I become human and things just become overwhelming and you just want to kind of take a step back. Or someone would just be like, oh no, we don't give up. Like, it's this whole thing of like not giving up. And some people make you feel like you're weak if you decide that, hey, this just isn't for me right now. People make it seem like you are a failure if you kind of give up or you stop something, it just doesn't work out. I personally feel like it takes more courage, it takes more guts, it takes wisdom to know when to walk away and not let something stress you out. As someone who has had a heart attack at the age of 42, I'm now 44. I thank God every day and I pray that I make it to May 30th where I can see 45. But surviving a heart attack at the age of 42, getting 2 stents in my heart, but still being here for my husband, being here for my children, being here for my family, my friends, for my students and those who have supported me over these years. I'm very grateful for that. But then it also is like a wake-up call in that sometimes we push so hard out of the fear of just letting it go for the betterment of ourselves, for our health. And, you can pick it back up. But if you have to let something go for your sanity, for your health, for the sake of your family, sometimes for the sake of your relationship, you have some people who are so gun ho when it comes to entrepreneurship or building a business, both, on male and female side, that they lose their family, they lose this connection with their family, and it feels very, very distant. I mean, look at the stuff that's happening with Glorilla and her family. Like, that is just crazy. Then there was the what's his name? He the comedian, and he was on Shay Shay. And there was this whole thing when he was like, I was grinding so much and doing all this stuff for my family that, I lost this connection with my daughter. And now I feel like just like an ATM machine. Like, these are things that are very much so real. I deal with that. I've talked about it openly where I take a break for 2 weeks when the kids are out of school for Christmas break. We're more like a week and a half. And then when I go back to like, okay, now it's time to work, like right at like the new year, because I'll do like my new year address. My kids were like, oh, well, that was fun while it lasted. And that kind of hurts. And people don't talk about that. All we hear about is the money and the money and the money. And it's like, not the things that affect us every day, like the real stuff that affects us when you're going crazy because you feel like you're doing everything. You're in classes and they're saying, do this, do that, but it's not working for you. And you get so sick and tired of people saying, it's just not your time yet. Don't give up. Your breakthrough is coming. And you're like, okay, well, can you give me a roundabout time? Because the patience is running thin. Okay. I feel like I could be, my time can be better used, better served somewhere else. And it's like, you just want to know, like, okay, like, how long do I have to hold on? But then you hear things like, what's his name? Oh God. Lord. It's going to come to me. Hold on. Actually, no, I'm just going to look for it. Why is his name, oh God, Bernard Durand. I was like, oh my God. So I'm picturing him running up to the stage to receive his Grammy. And he's like, this is 20 years in the making to get to this covenant point. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm only in 2 years. I'm only in 5 years. I'm only in 15 years. Like, okay, well, they got there, but it took 20 years. So I know that it's possible. So that kind of motivates you. But then reality sets in and it's like, okay, do I have to really wait 20 years? Like, can we speed this process up? And then everyone is like, now, like the AI, and everyone's making it seem like, oh, this is the way to make it happen quicker. And you're trying to apply these things. It's like, well, like, dang, this is like so overwhelming. Y'all want me to do content. I have to learn AI. I'm still working on this biz. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And it just becomes a lot. And not everyone has entrepreneur friends. Like, we meet people through the groups and things of that nature. But, being able to actually pick up a phone and always like call somebody and like talk to them, and not feel like you're trauma dumping, even if like it is like a creative friend. Like, are you the person that's always going through something? So you're worried about like, am I trauma dumping like all the time? Like, I learned through one of the podcasts, like to ask somebody like, look, I need to vent. Do you have the capacity to listen to and handle my vent session right now? I'll return it, but right now I do need a sounding board. Do you have the capacity? And being okay with asking your friends that, because they might be going through some things, but everybody doesn't always have like that person. I've tried to open up rooms where it's like, hey, this is a safe space. All of us here are pretty much going through it. And you can, be vulnerable in what it is that you're facing, what you're going through. Now, some people may not want to, but if you want to kind of talk, I don't mind helping people, especially when we're in a group setting. If I say, hey, I got some free time. Hey, as a collective, let's jump on, let's help one another. But then when people want my time individually, no, you got to pay for that. I understand your money might be short, but I need you to figure out where you're going to get that money from, because I can't just give up of my time like freely like that anymore. But I try and at least shine some light on it so that people don't feel alone and feel like, oh, okay, there is somebody else that goes through the same thing. So we're just going to talk about life in entrepreneurship and the ups and downs. Okay. So let's see. I have the original Cricut Explorer. So I have had a Cricut machine before, just not any of the newer ones. I had like the Expressions, the one with the last ones with the cartridge. So the original Cricut Explorer Air, 6 Cameo 4s, GCC Expert 24-inch, and a Graph Tech. So you're at what? 6, 7, 8, 9. You're at 10. 2 away from me. All the glamour without the stress. But yeah. So let's see. One of the things that I know affects, okay, I've had a lot of experience in entrepreneurship and just, well, I'm going to say business, not necessarily just from my own experiences in entrepreneurship. I am someone that has had a lot of opportunities and experience, like opportunities to experience business. That's what I want to say. So with the jobs that I've had over the years. So if you don't kind of know my background, I'm going to do it like try and do it as quickly as possible, just that you can understand who you're talking, like who you're listening to, who you're getting this information from. Am I like pulling this out of my, out of the air? Am I pulling out of my butt? Is it AI, talk that I'm, so I'm just going to kind of give you just a quick rundown of just my background. For me, being introduced to just like seeing how businesses run started in high school for me. I interned at a radio station here in South Florida called WEDR 99 Jams. So I interned there when I was in high school. So just kind of seeing just how radio worked, how like, when they're doing like the giveaways and just seeing soundboards and just seeing like being in an office space. Like I've gone to work like with my mom and I saw like her, like the different jobs that my mom's had, you have to go if you're sick or like, if it was, well, I don't think we had I was just telling my husband, I'm like, I don't remember take your child to work day. I just remember going to my mother's job when we had teacher planning days and we didn't have anybody. So it's like, we just kind of had take your child to work day. And back then in the 80s and 90s, I didn't feel like my mom was at jobs where they like really like had an issue with like bringing your kids. Cause I had spent plenty of time at my mom's job when we had teacher planning days and stuff like that. So I kind of had that, exposure, but like really like being able to see it through not childlike eyes was when I worked for 99 Jams. And so you're just seeing like all of the people that like, it's not just one person. Like you go and there's this office, this person that does this person that does that. Like even for this one thing, like there's 5 people to make this one production, this show go on. And then, I used to have to go in there and how radio works. And they have like a certain list of music that you have to play, like that's in rotation based off of what's popular. Then you can mix some things in and then they'll go like, okay, well, just you go and pick something like, cause they're like, those like the filler stuff, sometimes you hear the same music over and over and over again. And then you kind of have some things every once in a while, like it's a different song. Normally that's somebody that's just like going in there randomly picking it, but the songs were based off of like specific lists. Like there was music that had to be played. And so you would go in, like I had to go in, and based off of what time of day it was, you get this list. And there were like, I forget what they're called, but it's not like a regular cassette tape, but you have to go pull these and you put the stack there, and then they like push it in there, and they just kind of have a bunch of them queued up to like go like for the different songs. Like it was so interesting to see how radio works. Like we're just listening to it. So being like having the opportunities to see that and seeing like this is a well-oiled machine, and there's like multiple rooms like for the disc jockeys and this and the third, just seeing how the phone board worked. And like when you're calling, when as someone that used to try and call in, so how I got on, I know this I said short, but this is kind of cool. How I got on to be able to like intern there was like this one, and his name was like Albie Silk, and he had like this not this, it wasn't the cipher, it was no, it was you in the cipher. You in the cipher tonight. You want to be a dope G to grab the mic. So what's your name? What you do? Something, and spit your rhyme. So then you would go through this whole thing. And I used to do that a couple times. And then there was like Derek B used to kind of have this like talk type of thing, and you would call in. So you're kind of calling in. I used to always be like on there. And then I forgot how I got invited like to the radio station. And but like calling in is like different. Or like let's say you win something, and when you're calling in and it's like you're actually not on the air, a lot of the times like they'll tell you to turn down because you might be like while they're playing music, so you can't have it like up. So a lot of that stuff that wasn't live, and like now starting to see it, and it's just like, man, things don't work how we think they work looking from the outside in. And I think that happens to a lot of us in entrepreneurship. We just see people thriving. We see them doing and building something based off of something that they love. We're like, oh, well, hey, I know how to do that. I can build this. I have a heat press. I can make a t-shirt. I can do this. And we're just looking at the surface level, not knowing all of the other things that are happening to the side, behind, above, below. You don't get to see all of these things. We just know like what the small part of it, like the front facing things that we get to see. So that was a real eye opener for me in just how business works, because you just think like somehow, like, I don't know how I thought like we got the music and how all this stuff goes. But when you go and you see the soundboards and what, when you're like, oh, for me, music is on a cassette tape or a CD, but they have like these, I cannot remember the name of them, but it's like, they're like, it's not like an 8-track, but it was like this really big thing, and they had to like plug it in. But just seeing that, you realize that, wow, there's more to this. So that was like my first exposure to just business. And then after that, I kind of sort of got a little bit of like being able to kind of make my own money, in that I was doing like little event things here and stuff like that. So then after that, I went into the military. I never had like an actual like high school type job, whatever. I went straight from high school into the military. So there you're now kind of seeing that the different jobs that I was in, like that was an experience in of itself, going through basic training and tech school, and then being on my duty stations in Korea and Germany. That was one thing. There is when I got my first job, like having like a retail type job. I worked at the PX, and one of the annexes of it. And so it's kind of seeing that and how registers work and having to count your till. And so getting those like experiences. Then from there, when I got out of the military, I think my first job out was, I'm trying to remember, when did PRC come? Did PRC come before or after Florida Memorial? I don't remember, to be honest. I want to say PRC, which is like a call center here. And I worked for DirecTV commercial, the commercial side. I want to say that came first, but somewhere in there, I worked in like a call center. So just kind of seeing that, knowing like when you call customer service, how many people there are. And then like when you escalate a call, and just seeing all these different things. I worked at Florida Memorial. Back then it was college, but now like university. where I was an assistant to the activities director, and then we got a director for the conference center. And because I was into event planning and things like that, that was like a dream for me. And I used to help maintenance with like the setups and stuff for that. I became the advisor for Miss Florida Memorial that year that I was there, and well, part of that, and then also the advisor like for freshman class, because being staff, you're able to be like advisors. So that kind of showed me some things, and just how, like, even on college life, and even though it's like organizations, how you have to submit paperwork, and like you can't just make decisions on your own, like having to get approvals and things like that. So that was a pretty interesting like dynamic. Then I worked for like Brinks Home Security. I was installing security systems, but I also kind of got to see the sales side of it. I worked for Dolphin Stadium as a stand lead. I worked for American Airlines Arena, which is where I met my husband at, as a stand lead. And so I went through a lot of different jobs there. Like that's where I got the bulk of like my experience from. Oh, I forgot. I worked at Walmart. Forgot about that one. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. Didn't work there long. Absolutely hated it. I hated Walmart. Oh, I could not stand working at Walmart. That is the most next to PRC. That place is very catty. It's just, okay, stop, Shakia, because that's gonna make me go into a tailspin. Did I mention I hated working at Walmart? Okay, yeah. So I forget where that falls into it. And then I left Levy and I worked as an operations manager. And that started my full on entrepreneurship, because throughout all of this, I was doing event planning and being an event decorator and hostess and things of that nature. But it's like kind of like on the side. And there's my kid. Please hold. All right. So let's see. So I was still kind of doing that. And then I ended up leaving Levy. And, I'll say like I ended up getting fired, not because of something I did, because I was a know-it-all. And I used to challenge people. That was a thing for me. Like even I was in the Air Force, I challenged my TIs quite a bit. Like I wasn't afraid to like have to answer questions to be able to get juice or get other stuff and get condiments for my food. Like I've always just been a rebel. And they didn't like the access that I had. They didn't like that I kind of spoke up about things. And then one thing led to another, which gave them the go to be able to get rid of me. So I'm not afraid to say, like, I've gotten fired before. And then I but it worked out because I wasn't supposed to be there. This lady had saw me like in one of my positions there as the subcontractor supervisor and dealing with contracts. This is where I really, really got to see contracts and how they're set up, the verbiage of it. This is where I got exposed to business insurance and the fact that you needed it. Like you have your liability insurance and your workers' comp, and you have that. But like in order to be in these larger spaces, you had to have that, and you had to put them as like a location or a writer like on there or whatever. Like this is where I got that experience from. So when I'm talking to people about, hey, there's going to be some opportunities where you want to be, like, you have to have business insurance, you have to have liability if you want to be able to do things on their property. And like if you're going to have, even if you're just doing like having like a heat press, like that's something that could cause a fire. Like you have to have liability insurance. If you are doing something like, let's say in food, and you have water there and it's somewhere where someone can fall. Well, if they spill that water in front of your location and they slip and fall, even if they weren't interacting, like it's like within your area, or they can prove that it was like water that dripped from yours, or you made something, you are now held liable. So it's like learning all, like that's what Levy did for me, which I didn't realize how important that would be coming into what I do now in teaching people about business and entrepreneurship, letting them know about things like liability insurance, because so many people are operating and they don't understand that there is a difference between liability insurance and also insurance to protect your personal property. Like all the things that you have purchased to run your business. If you have, like me, I have two $2,500 heat presses, like the Hottronics. I have two of those actually. Well, yeah, two of those. And then I have one that's like $700. Well, if something happens and they're messed up, they get, destroyed, damaged. I'm in Florida, hurricane. Your homeowner's insurance doesn't technically cover that. That's for business. And you don't have business insurance for that. I have paper. If something happens to that, like that's, I can't get back the shipping cost for that. That was $14,000 to have that shipped over, then the actual product. So protecting your products is one thing. Business insurance just covers liability in case you are sued. And then it helped me understand it better, like when Toni Braxton had to file bankruptcy and her business insurance did not cover her medical condition. So when she had, like, they didn't pay out the stuff. So it's like, I'm very grateful for all of these opportunities that I've had, because now when I have these classes like my creative business program, or it's going to now be the Learn, Build, Grow program for entrepreneurs, I'm able to share these things and talk about the importance of these insurances. And you want to price accordingly so that you're able to pay for these things, that it's not just about the material and like the supplies, and you can't just price for that. You're going to have business overhead. And then you have some people that's not doing that, and they're able to maybe keep their prices low. You feel like they're undercutting, like how can they make a profit, because you're looking at maybe all of the things that you have to pay out, the liability insurance, you're like, when it comes to doing your taxes, your marketing, your branding, you're paying for a website, you might be paying for a VA, you're paying for help, you're paying for your own health insurance. So you're like, look, how in the heck can they sell a shirt for $5-10? Like I would be drowning if I tried to do that. Well, they probably don't have those overheads. They don't know the value of it, how important it is to have liability insurance, to have an accountant or a CPA or a bookkeeper, and you're paying for all these things. Once you are exposed to them and you're like, I want to be set up correctly, you get a different, your thought process and your mindset about pricing becomes different. So many people who are afraid to raise their prices when needed, especially depending on what your business model is and who you are servicing, you are afraid to raise your prices. But it's like you're also saying, I want a little bit of breathing room. Like, this is too much. I'm doing everything, but your prices are not conducive to you ever getting any type of relief or help in your business, because you are afraid to lose out on a sale. You're not forward thinking. In entrepreneurship, you have to forward think. You have to plan for the future and project. You have to price for what you want your business to be. If you continue to operate just as a newbie, that's as far as you're going to go. Like, you are going to have a ceiling. You're never going to crack that, because you don't know what is coming and what could come. Like, you may have an opportunity and they're going to say, well, you need to have insurance. And you're like, wait, what? Like, I don't have that. Like, I never had to before because I was doing all this like little small stuff. Well, with us, you require insurance. And you go and they'll say, I want to ask you guys this. I've been talking a lot. If you had to carry $3 million in liability insurance and workers' comp and all of that, how, like, do you, like, in your mind, where you're like, if someone told you, okay, well, you have to have an insurance policy of $3 million, would you freak out? Would you freak out? She said, this is why I forgot about it. Yeah, because I hated Walmart. Okay, yes, right? Because you would, in your mind, carrying liability insurance of $3 million per occurrence, you would think that that costs what? That it would be a lot for that, right? Around how much do you think that you would have to pay in order to have $3 million of coverage? She just says a lot. Okay, I see 600 monthly, 500 a month. Depending on how you set it up and how much you pay on the front end. But I've had some, like, those are actually really reasonable, like in the amount that you guys are saying, because I remember saying this before and someone thought like, oh, well, there's no way that you can carry $3 million and you're not paying like 1,000 or 2,000, or they thought that they had to pay out at least $100,000 to have 3 million, and you really don't. You are in that range. Like, depend. It also depends on like, if you don't know this, I'll tell you this about like liability insurance. Is to cover if you are to get sued when it comes to workers' comp, because you have an LLC and you are the owner. That doesn't cover you. That was one that we didn't learn until we set up our own insurance, that you then have to get owner's coverage. It's to cover like employees, anything happens to them, but you have to pay additional in order for you to be covered in your business. Some people think they just get that and they get that workers' comp and something happens to them, but no, because you are the owner, you're not covered. You have to get an additional insurance on top of that. But these are things that most people are not exposed to at this level, right? When it comes to that type of information, it's normally behind a really, really high paywall. You don't really see a lot of those things on like YouTube and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, like I mean, now this is on YouTube, but as far as like having like a full thing where I'm breaking all of this down, would I ever really put it out there? YouTube don't pay enough, okay? So, I do have like my creative business. We talk about these things when we talk about like some of the tax things. Well, I always say I'm not a certified, I'm not an accountant, I'm not licensed, and or whatever, certified, whatever all the words are, the accolades you have to have, like to give that type of consulting, or being a lawyer, like a tax lawyer, things of that nature. But I know what I know as far as what I've had to do in my business, and I share that with others as far as the things that you can you can deduct so that you are reducing your tax liability. And I try my best to share these things, because this is where people get kind of caught up at, and you feel like, man, I'm doing all these things and then I hit a roadblock, and it's like, I don't know who to go to, because I don't know anyone that's like at that level that I can talk to, and it's at a reasonable price. Like, so I've made it my mission, like for me and what I do. Could I charge a whole lot? Yes. But I also know that there are people who want to succeed. Like, they have the tools, they just don't have the cash flow. They don't have the capital to maybe pay those higher prices until like they get going, they get some motion, and then they can get those higher mentorships that's like $10,000, $30,000, $70,000. That's going to expose them to certain things. Like for me, because I research so much, when I've looked into and I've kind of paid like a good little amount, and I'm like, this is literally all stuff that I knew. And so for me personally, because I am someone that researches, because I am someone that's very observant, I don't mind asking questions. All someone can tell me is like no or whatever. Like, I didn't mind asking questions when I was at Levy and learning the real interworkings. Really figure, like, when you see all that goes into just getting you a Coke at a football game or a basketball game, even when it comes to a movie theater, and you're like, why is this drink that I would normally pay maybe $1 nowadays? It's like it's like $2 for like the 20-ounce drink. Why is this $5? Why is this $8? Why is this water $4? Like, it makes no sense until you are in it, and you're now looking at, oh wow, you need this many people to be able to get this line down as quickly as possible where people aren't complaining. This is a lot of staff that you have to pay for. So you can't sell, like if you were to sell these things at the regular cost that you would get, like out and about when someone's buying a full case, they're buying one, and there's all of this service and the number of people that it takes in one stand, and you got a bunch of these stands. Yeah, you can't go and charge that amount. And that's just the people in the stands. Then you have the supervisors who are not worker bees, like directly in the stand that's contributing to it, but making sure that they are able to get certain things. Then you have the workers so that you and your stand, you don't have to run down to the warehouse to get a, to you run out and they have to restock. There's someone, you put it in, they're going to bring it up to you. But then there is a manager or a director down there, which is my husband, who's going to go and like approve that. And then he has bosses. Then you have HR, and you're looking at all of the people and all of the things that it takes to get you that one drink. Because you'll come and you're like, okay, I just want one soda. Not ordering any food, but just that one thing. The sponsorships and knowing that they like how that works and how that affects money. It's like, man, this is a lot. Like the equipment and how much this equipment costs, the registers and people coming in, you realize, oh, okay, this is a lot different than me going and getting a case of water and bringing this into my house. And I don't have to pay someone to go and put this in the freezer for me. And then when I want one, go get it, bring it to the couch for me, open it because we couldn't give them the caps. Like you're not paying someone to kind of do that where they have to pay all of this, right? You're going to go and you're going to pick up your case of water and put it in your cart or underneath your cart. You're going to push it to the register. You're doing a lot of this work, manual work yourself. You're taking time out to where if you were someone that was working 24 hours a day, you got paid $25 an hour on your job. So technically you might be losing out on $25 or $15 to be able to go into the store for that hour. It's like your thought process of how business work, it changes when you really open up your mind to like look at your job as a training ground. Like I looked at jobs as if they were classes inside of like a college or university. Like I'm learning every day. Like I'm getting on the job training. I'm getting real world training, and I'm nosy as hell. And that's how I learned to get ahead when it comes to entrepreneurship. But what I wasn't prepared for was people. I was not prepared for people. And people being very finicky or people being entitled because there's so many things that they have to pay for in this teaching space. They, in their mind, it's, well, it's enough money out here for everyone. Why can't you just show me this for free? And at one point I was doing a whole lot of that in conjunction with, making my things. And, I'm pricing my stuff correctly as I'm, selling it to other people. But then people wanted my information and I'm giving it freely, and slowly but surely it was chipping away. So I had to kind of go back to like, girl, you got to get paid for this. The things like when we wanted like to clean up, we didn't have to do a whole lot of like major cleanup of things. There was a whole other company, Pritchard, that would come in and clean up the arena. We didn't have to do that, right? But when you're in your own job, like you have to be the janitor, you have to be the dish, you have to wear all of the hats, yet most of those hats are not being compensated. I wanted to be able to help with that. So know that you are not alone. Most people think that you have to have this major corporation and all these things to adopt these principles and adopt these strategies and adopt this mindset. And you don't. You just have to be exposed to it. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. And it makes it to where you're going to stand firm on these prices. When you know that the more you grow, the more money it requires, because you're not going to be able to do those tedious tasks for the full duration. If you are 30 something now, if you are 40 something now, and you're like, okay, we always say, well, I want to leave my 9 to 5. That means you're going to retire in your business. How are you going to do that if you are making money that can't be set aside, that you're doing everything yourself, is taxing on your body, and then it's like you want to retire, but you still need to have money coming in. So having a business that might be sustainable where somebody else can do the work. But it's like once we're like entrepreneurship, we feel like, oh, well, we have to do everything ourselves. Oh, this could never be a business where I have staff. But there are literally companies like working for the arena and getting the shirts that sit on the chairs. And I remember like when we were going into championship, they brought cameras into like uh whatever shirt shop or production shop that was making the shirts, and you're seeing the amount of people who were there to be able to like to make these shirts that sit on like the chair. So it's like, you as someone that's making shirts, you can have a contract. Like that's what that showed me. Your company could have a contract to make all of the shirts that sit on the chairs, the giveaways for the local sports team in your area, for the high school, for just like not like a major team. Like if you had like a major like flag football type thing, whatever. If you had arena football in your area, like there's money to be made. There are companies. It's not like McDonald's or Wendy's or 24-hour fitness or Planet Fitness or hell, Foot Locker. They're not making their own shirts. They're not, embroidering these things on their shirts. There is a company. It is not a Chick-fil-A division of making shirts and making the cups. Like they're not doing that. That's a print shop. You learn the basics and the fundamentals now, and you go and you educate yourself. I was just telling someone on TikTok, like, go to these expos, not just the ones for apparel, like, because we were talking about impressions, but ones like Printed United and things like that, where you're seeing these printers that are high production ones. And now you'll start to think differently about how you price, because it's like, I want to be in a position where I have that cash flow coming in, I have that demand coming in, to where I can get some funding to be able to get this machine. And I now know the basics of design and like mechanics and things like that. I learned these inside out. So it's going to be easier for me to learn this machine. Now I can do more production. Now I can take on these bigger jobs. But there's like, sometimes what most people do is they buy these machines to be able to take on these jobs, but then you also don't have the business side. You might lose out on a contract because you don't know anything about business insurance. You don't have any. And while you're trying to get it, you might lose out on that opportunity. That is what I do my best in my business program, to educate and to expose you to this information. Even if you don't need it, it might come back to you when that opportunity comes. Like, dang it, Shakia told me about that. But then when I go and I tell you, hey, this is where you can go and get this. This is how this works. This you now have access to where it's going to be easy. You don't have to do the research from scratch, because you were in the room where someone was giving you that information before you knew you even needed it. These are the lessons that I learned in all of these businesses that I've had, and that's helped me in entrepreneurship, where sometimes when it does feel lonely, when I'm thinking about like branding and marketing and stuff like that, and how to get out, like people, like no matter what I'm doing, I'm like, sometimes it's like what I really, really want to do, I'm not seeing the movement. But then in other areas, like, okay, it's working, but man, I really want this thing to like work out. I know you guys go through that with different things. Like, okay, well, I really thought this design, this shirt was going to be the thing that puts me on the map. Everybody's going to want this. Oh, I learned how to make these vending machines. I learned how to make these arches and stuff like that. Oh, everybody wants it. This is what's going to put me on the map. And then in your area, it doesn't work. And you feel defeated. Why does it work for them? It doesn't work for me. Well, maybe you just don't have the right clientele. The people who you are speaking to, they don't see the value in that. There are people around you that will see the value, but you have to be willing to go out and be in those places. You have to dress the part. I know for me, I'm a little plain Jane. And I always feel like people don't take me seriously because I don't dress the part. I don't do a whole lot of like makeup. My nails always look like crap. Like it must look like I don't take care of myself, because yes, I bite my nails. I try to hide them so much. I try to wear false nails. Like when I go out, and they are so uncomfortable, but I also don't know how to stop biting my nails, and they just look horrible. And I always feel like, well, dang it, is this my reason why? Because people want folks to look a certain way, like if they're on stage and you are representing someone. And I'm just like, I get bad migraines when I have this. I like headband wigs because I can take them off. even when I have braids in my hair, it's still pulling in the gravity of it. And I don't like the little bob braids. That's really what I have to have, because anything longer still pulls on it. I have a migraine. So I'm always very self-conscious about hair and like just those things. I'm not a big fan of like makeup. I don't know. I will say I have no, when it comes to dressing, I have no style. I'm not afraid to admit I have no style whatsoever. I am a person where I don't like to shop. I would say my husband looked up. I don't like to shop at all. I don't know how to dress my body. So I avoid certain opportunities because of fear of like, I'm not going to fit in. I'm not going to have the right apparel. I'm going to feel out of place. I can be online because y'all see me from here up. I am so comfortable here, but I am petrified of speaking in public because I'm always overly like, I overthink a lot of the things when it comes to just appearance in public. Like, oh, you're fine. I can't, contrary to popular, like you may not realize this, like as much as I'm on camera, I hate taking pictures. I feel like on camera it's one thing, but you go and it's a still frame. I'm like, who in the hell is that? I look that busted. The hell is going on here? Anytime I feel like my confidence is really, really high, like I walk around with confidence. I'm the type of person, I got some bow legs. You know, people stop me and it's like, ooh, that walk. But I don't, but then I'll take a picture. I walk by and I'm like, it's like, it's almost like what they call it, body dysmorphia or whatever. But like, I'm just self-conscious about clothing, about how I look in public, that it stops me. But that's my hang up. It doesn't mean that it's your hang up. Like you might still thrive. So I still try to educate people about showing up and exposing you. And a lot of times it's coming from the, I wish I'd say, okay, I can't do it. I'm very self-conscious. My anxiety starts to take over, but I want you to do it. I want you to succeed. I want you to take this information that I can apply. I want you to take this information. I want you to soar. I want you to be great. I want you to be amazing because I can't. And that is kind of like where I teach from, in that I even teach for the things that I'm afraid to do, because I know that even though I'm afraid to do certain things for someone else, it's that bit of information, that knowledge, that play, that strategy is what's going to take them and catapult them, you know, like just way beyond what they ever thought. Okay, so what do you think about how people with actual skills is being replaced by AI? ChatGPT is making it harder for us, even though there are flaws in them. So it depends on what skills you're referring to. 1 second. Oh my God, it is hot. It was getting a little warm in here. Like, I'm like, God, wait. So it depends on what you are referring to, right? Um, Technically, AI has like, it's not replacing anything. It might make it easier to kind of get, yes, later, get certain information, but that was available via Google. That was like, this information is, you have to remember, AI is nothing new. This is information, like it got this information from somewhere. It's not just creating this information. It's pulling from different sources. um those who don't care about quality when it comes to images, I look at these flyers. There are some people, because they just want something quick, they don't care that the graininess and the style of it looks exactly like everybody else, just with their information. You have some people that don't care. They just want it quick, fast, and hurry. You can't change that. That has been a thing for forever, where people don't care about quality. But you have people that do care about quality. Then this is now on you. If you feel like when it comes to images and things, like people are relying on AI so heavily and that's what they're looking for, now you're going to go to the people who are like, yeah, I still require a certain level of quality, because AI cannot give you really high definition. If you really look at it, it's always kind of grainy. There's some pixelation. There are some things where the pixels just kind of mesh together because they're trying to take several different things and put them together. It's never building out anything itself. It's taking little pieces from other places and meshing them together, which is why you can't always get like just your face, like you do that to make the twin. Something changes because it's trying to piece all those pixels together. So for image creation, it can work for ideas. I literally just taught about this in my Canva class today. So we were able to, like, with places where AI comes in handy, I showed them this play, and they pay for it, so I'm not going to give it to y'all. But I showed them a way where ChatGPT becomes a really great assistant for things that you would not have access to, or you would have to pay a lot of. Some things people were paying a lot of money for, and people just don't have it. So being the fact that they now have a way to kind of get ahead so they can make a little bit more money in their business, I'm all for it. When it comes to copy, if you are okay with just generic wording, it doesn't matter. Like, or you know what? I'll say this way. Some people say it's taking away people's jobs. Some folk were never going to pay that person's price anyway. So to me, AI doesn't necessarily take away jobs in the smaller business kind of thing, but like in corporations, they might lay people off. So you're going to lose your job. And it's not that AI is taking the job, but you have someone that understands how to use AI. They understand how to have the, like, to input things to make things happen quicker. I am one where I was trained on Excel spreadsheets. I know them, I will say like the back of my hand. Like, I have a really good understanding of Excel spreadsheets and formulas, and not just your sum. Like, if this is this, and then like when you're trying to create like a certain calendar and you want it to calculate, you can put in things like equal weekday, you put in parentheses for this and this parameter and this array and this, and you go to this table. Like, literally, like, that is, I know to build out. I've built out calculators. I've built out access spreadsheets and databases. Like, I knew those things. Now, for someone who didn't read Excel for Dummies, or didn't take a class on it, or didn't binge it when you were a lonely airman and you didn't have anything to do when you're on this remote location in Korea, and you just kind of have your laptop and you're just playing around with things and you're just figuring all this stuff out, you didn't have that luxury. AI makes it now. You drop it in there and it will tell you the formula for you to copy and paste. So you don't have to have this knowledge. You didn't have to read 30,000 books. It's helping you get there faster. So in some instances, it really is helping. So the person that knows how to use AI had to help my husband. And I'm like, why are you doing this manually? You can take this, put it in AI, and then it's just going to spit it back out to you in a file that you can now edit and just download. Oh, really? Okay, yeah, here, watch this. Do. Now it's freeing up time. When you use it correctly, it can help you more than it can hurt you. But for some businesses, people will get laid off because you now don't need, like, so a lot of times what people did in what companies did, you needed more manpower to get things done faster. If you had one person doing this job, right, it might take them several hours to do it. It's kind of like printers, right? Or cutting machines. You have one cutting machine, or like, let's say my roll-in, it will take 30 minutes to print out a yard sign. So that means I can only print out one yard sign every 33 minutes. But now if I have 4 of them, every 30 minutes, I'm producing 4 of them. So now when you have more people to spread this work out on, you're able to get it done faster, but you're also paying out more man hours because they're there, they have their salary. Now, when it comes to AI, I can give this 1 or 2 employees like more work because they know how to use AI. They're going to go, they're going to plug it in, they're going to get this answer back. They're going to be able to get these facts and figures. Even if they are making these charts and things manually, the information, they were able to get that faster. I didn't have to have a fact checker and this person and that person to do all these things. Now all I need is one or two people that actually like don't resist AI. They understand it. They understand how to talk to it, to put this information in, to get an output in 10 to 30 seconds. Now my productivity is higher. But for that person, that employee, well, now you're doing the work of 3, 4, 5 different people. So it's like it behooves you to learn AI, because it's not replacing jobs or it's not replacing people. It is kind of lowering the job force, but the same way, like in anything, you have people that are very lazy. You have some CEOs where, okay, I know that AI is needed. I ain't trying to learn it. I'm going to go and I'm going to pay the people who know how to use AI. So don't run away from it. There's no escaping it. It's like, I think that it will kind of die down, and it's going to be so, well, you know what? I think for our newer generations, because they're not going to know much else outside of the way things look via AI, they're not going to care. Where the issue is going to constantly be is those who knew a world before AI was prominent. That's where the issue is going to be at. We're having a harder time because we're so used to grunt work and doing everything manually that we can't accept that. We're used to, it's almost, oh, you know what, to me, how I also see like AI, they say like it's great cinematography and like these great images and things like that, but you got to spend a lot of money. Like that ain't the stuff you get like from the free version of what's it called, VO3 or whatever it is, and Kling and HeyGen and all those like ones. Like that's not the, you don't get that from the free version. But remember how graphics used to look back in the day? Sometimes I feel like AI gives us that. I mean, it's a little bit more, but it's like it's not. At one point we had really quality things because people were hand making it, and now the easier it gets, the quality is like not quite there. Like things are off, there's no consistency. I think people are becoming okay with, let's say you build out like a whole movie or whole commercial with like AI, and it's just the slightest things. I watched it. I ain't gonna lie, I watched it because the storyline was great. But I'm watching it, and the lady's dress changed about 5 times. Her hair changed like 4 times. And it was like subtle things, but it's like, okay, in the first cut, she had, a sweetheart neckline. Then she had one that wrapped around her neck. The back part, it rouged, and then it was smooth. And then it was like to her knees, and it was like all of like just in this short film, it was all these changes. So many, like, I think we're going to get to a point where people just aren't going to pay attention to that. Like for us, we're the type of people where when there is a mistake in films, where we're picking those things out. Like, wait a minute, wasn't her hair just long? Didn't she just have bangs? Like, how she ain't got no water on her face and she just did this? Like, we're so observant. So for our generation and older, the things that we see now, it doesn't make sense to us because we are the ones that really are on social media, and we have our children, well, some of us try to shield our kids from it, but for them, that's going to become a norm, and they're the future. So for where this is going, they're not going to care about the things that we care about. So I don't really feel like it's going to take jobs. You just have to be more creative in how you use it and how you're going to make money. And where it really, right now, you need human input for AI. Where it is going to become a problem is when they don't need human input. And it's going to be like, what's Will Smith's movie? Artificial Intelligence, is this one? And you have these robots that's thinking for themselves. That's when it's going to become a problem. So creating your own artwork and drawings. I mean, everybody doesn't like AI. This is what they have you to believe, because you are on Facebook and on some of these social medias, and we feel like, well, oh, everybody's just doing AI. there's a large group of people who can't stand it. And there are some people that is like, I'm not, if you're using AI to like completely build out the artwork, no. I think it helps with coming up with ideas, and it gets you to the idea stage faster. So now when you are skilled in certain programs, you're able to like do the things where it truly is quality, and you can blow it up. You can change colors if they have a request. You know how hard it is to change one little thing when you're talking about AI, compared to having those layers when you are in a program like Photoshop or Photopea or Illustrator or Silhouette Studio or even Canva. It's harder to change one little thing. It changes everything. Like AI doesn't have that, like, to where it can pinpoint a change. So I don't think it affects you for those who value quality. But if who you are speaking to and who you are designing for and who your clientele is are people who don't value quality, then yes, you're going to probably feel like, oh, AI is taking over. People said that not in the event planning space when it comes to balloons. Oh my God, I'm not paying that. I can do it myself. They'll do it. And they make it sound like they're just so happy with it. This don't look like what you showed me. You got gaps. Your balloons are all big. They don't match. You got balloons that are see-through. Like I'm using quality balloons that's very opaque. And you got these translucent dang on balloons. They popping all over the place. It took you way longer to do. It don't look nothing like what a professional. But in your mind, it's like, well, shoot, this all I care about. This all I need. It looked good to me. That's my mom's favorite line, by the way. It looked good to me. Well, it don't look like the picture, your inspiration picture. It don't look like that. Now, if people would be more honest and show me something that was DIM, okay? DIY'd. Let that be your inspiration. But stop using these professional ones where people go and it takes time and they're doing the right size. They have good balloons. Some of these balloons, to get these colors, they're double stuff, and people would never know that. They're just going into, well, you can't say Party City. They're going to these places, getting these balloons, thinking they're going to get this color scheme. Nope, it looks horrible. But we used to think that like all these YouTube videos showing them how to do it, it was going to take away jobs. Yet there are people who are still making six figures. They have seven-figure businesses still doing balloon decor, because there are people who are like, I value my time. I ain't got time for this. That's not my ministry. I don't want to do this. It's just gonna take more work for you to find the people that value what you bring to the table. And that is where I'm at. Like I will say, like for me, because so many people at first, when I first got into this, you didn't have people doing detailed instructions like I do when it comes to Silhouette Studio or design, talking about business, showing how to cut foam board, how to, put together 3D boxes and things of that nature. There wasn't a lot of tutorials like that online. Now, everybody and their mama want to be a YouTuber. Everyone thinks there's so much money in it to where it's like, oh, you can learn it from YouTube. Why would you pay somebody for a class? You can learn it. They just teach you. Baby, I'm not teaching you nothing I learned off YouTube. I am the YouTube. I provide the content that you are watching, that you're saying to people. I provide that content. I'm not the one that's just giving you things from YouTube. But even with like all of that, you still have some people who are like, yeah, this ain't for me. I'm not doing that. It take up too much time. I see, it's like this false sense of, oh, wow, they got this done, and not realizing all the clips and stuff like that. They got it down because we're taught people's attention span is too short. I don't care if it took you 3 hours. You better take that 3 hours and compress it down and skip some things where you are doing this for 30 minutes. Anything after 20 minutes, 30 minutes, they are checking out. You're going to have the skip rate. Your watch time is going to go down. No one's watching someone do balloons for 3 hours. But then they go and they do it. Oh my God, that video was only 20 minutes. Like, I've been at this for 6 hours. Hey, this exactly. You didn't want the real. You wanted the false reality of what it is to do these balloons. And so I've had people, they're like, okay, never again. They may have tried it once. And next time it's like, okay, yeah, Shakia, can you come and do these balloons? Can you do this setup? Can you do this? Can you do that? Like ironing linen. So you just have to find the people that value it. So I was saying, like, for me, when I first started, people valued it. They were watching the videos, they were willing to sign up for classes. Now there are so many people who want to get into digital products, which people teach. Ebooks are digital products. People don't even know about the information. They don't care about the information. I went back and forth with this young lady. Well, I guess I went back and forth. She kind of yapped her stuff and I just laughed at her, but she's just like, oh, well, I'm gonna be over here and I'm gonna make my ebook I'm gonna put this in the chat GPT, I'm gonna throw it into an ebook. But then it's like, yeah, you got the money, but do you really get a lot of like repeat? Because then it's like, okay, this was trash. This wasn't, I tried to ask a question. I couldn't get any help. It wasn't very clear because it was just vague from chat GPT. And maybe for like lead magnets and like smaller things, you can do that, but not like real information. So you have these people who are creating digital products. So they either want to create a ebook, or you have people who are like, oh my God, they charging $50 for a class. I'm going to show you for free. And they'll go and they'll do it. And now people think that you are the scammer or you are the problem because you're charging for your expertise and your time to walk them through it, to allow them to ask questions, to meet them where they're at. Now you're the scammer. So it things change. And that's going to happen in business. That's where I'm at. Like it wasn't like this when I started 10 years ago. Now it's a lot harder. Like it's like you got to put on a song and dance, and you got to go and you got to do a little jive, and you got to go and play these mind games just to get people to enroll. Or they look at you, they look down on you because you're charging for it and feel like, oh, it's enough money out here for everyone to eat. But what they don't realize is when you are pouring into people as a teacher and you are really actually teaching people and you are doing the hard work and you are doing all the steps and you're putting together these things and testing things out for their good, you're no longer in the game with them. You're not doing those same things. You're not making money from that because as one person, you cannot do both. And the people that are front facing saying, oh, I'm making all this money from crafting, but they're not telling you until they might slip and say it, or when they're trying to convince you to buy certain things, then it comes out, oh, I got this VA, I have this assistant, I have somebody that does this. What people don't realize, a lot of the stuff that you see all these displays, never did that person who's promoting this class, they didn't even make it. They paid somebody else to make it, ship it to them, and now they're going and they're showing you this thing. Oh my God, I can show you how to make this, and they haven't even made it themselves. That's where it becomes harder in entrepreneurship. Not taking over. I should have said that our work isn't appreciated. Now that is very true. People are going for the low quality now. They can be cute, but we can see the flaws and want our things with high quality. So if you want to continue to do high quality, what you then have to do is stop being, and I'm saying this in the most loving way, because for me, it is, because even for myself, and I'm calling myself this as well, you got to stop being lazy and you got to stop being afraid. You got to stop living in fear to where you're now like you have to go and do what you need to do to present yourself in a way for those who want to appreciate quality. Those who are always looking for the free, well, what's the cheap way? What's this? AI is like the golden ticket for them. Because so many of these AI platforms, you're able to access certain things for free, and that's good enough for them. You're never going to be able to convince them. They only dealt with you before because you were the only option. Now AI is an option, and they don't really care about quality. I had to tell one of my mentees this, like, girl, you are wasting so much ink printing out everything on high quality. These people don't care. If you don't print that crap on production mode and sometimes even draft mode, because they don't know the difference. They just want the thing. You think they care that you're using the best, the top quality? Like, they don't care about that stuff. They're looking for the bootleg. So the same way that they're looking for bootleg Jordans, bootleg purses, bootleg clothing, you think they aren't looking for bootleg graphics? You think they're not looking for bootleg phone board creations where some people, like for me, I mean, I'm never going to do it. I'm never using, I just refuse to. So if you don't want to pay my prices for my quality work, that's on you. I'm not going to lower my standards. I don't concern myself with you. You are not my clientele if you have a problem with that. And that is where entrepreneurs, you have to have that mindset. If you are putting out really quality work and you're putting into, and everybody that you're coming across, they're like, no, like I'm okay with this, like then that's not, it's now up to you to figure out what you need to do. How do you get into the spaces? What networking events do you have to show up to? What do you have to sacrifice in your life? Sacrificing and outing out with your friends to go to this networking event. And sometimes, yes, you have to pay to be in this network. I don't care if you wear the same, you get like, they used to say, get you one good suit, get you a couple things you can mix and match, show up to these networking events, talk to yourself at home, record yourself. That way you sound confident when you're in these rooms. And you'll find that when you go and you say amounts that to you or to your previous audience seems outrageous and they don't bat an eye at it, it's so many people that say, oh, I said this amount, like it was 10 times higher than what they ever quoted. And the person's like, oh, okay, fine. Like they signed it really quick. And they're like, well, shoot, was that not high enough? I'm not. You want to question if your price was too low. Because if somebody can, like, they don't even have to think about it, like, let me weigh the options. All right, cool. You want to kind of have a little bit of resistance. If you have no resistance, everyone will, like, I've never come across anybody that talked about when they gave that high quote and someone like jumped on it, and it's like, they're always like, well, shoot, did I charge enough? And they go back and they're like, okay, well, let me push the envelope. Let me charge a little bit more. And they keep pushing that until they kind of get that resistance and maybe now get a couple of no's on that price point. Okay, I know that for this group of people that I'm now in, this is like that threshold. You got to test the waters. But if they don't appreciate it, they're not your customer. You can't force somebody to see the value. And that is the thing that I'm finding with most entrepreneurs, even myself. Like I struggle with things and people tell me that because it's like, you're trying to force people to see the value. And for me, it wasn't the value in the price. It was for me, I wanted people to appreciate the value in the information and how I was teaching it. But it's so many people I ran across, they just want to rush to the top and they want to skip all the things and they don't want to do, the work. That was frustrating for me because I always kept my prices fairly like lower. I feel like they're lower, but it was people appreciating the information. So then I tested the waters and I found a group of people and I'm kind of crazy because I still keep bringing my behind back over here. But I found, groups of people that appreciated how I think outside the box, the information I was able to bring them was like, well, dang, I never knew this. Wow. Like when they're saying this is a lot of information, like, that you're exposing them to things that they never knew before, but then your heart isn't in it. And that's kind of where I was, where just my heart wasn't in it because I love the creative community. And I know that there's money to be made here. Like I want to be able to go and be like, I coached and I trained someone and I gave them the knowledge to where they have a $10 million company. I might not be able to reach it because I have other obligations. It takes a lot for someone to have a business of that type of evaluation and the work that it takes. And it might take you away. I have a child that I am working with to get him to where I need him to be education wise. So I probably wouldn't be able to take advantage of certain opportunities because it'll take me away from my kid. And I'm just not there yet, but I can probably help somebody else where they're in the position where they can go and they can get this 6-figure job, this 7-figure job, but I couldn't because I'm kind of tethered to home. Make sense? But if someone doesn't appreciate it and you are still trying to convince them to appreciate it, then we are the idiots. We are foolish. we are insane because we keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So now you have to ask yourself, how do I get into the spaces where it is appreciated? She said, same here, but I do get my nails done, and my best friend will go through my closet to dress me. I wish I had a best friend that can do that for me, but I don't. That can, but I also like they won't have a lot to work with. I don't like shopping. Like, okay, right now, got my little business shirt on. I'm not matching in any way, shape, or form. Okay. I have on some green, army green sweats with the word love going down the side that I got from Wally World because they're comfortable. I like comfort. I used to be one where I used to wear heels. You couldn't catch me in sneakers. Now I hated flats. My Crocs are my favorite things. If I can't go and speak on the stage and have on some Crocs, I don't know if I can do it. I don't think I can stand up there in some heels just for the aesthetics of it and give a TED talk or go and teach. I want to be in some Crocs, okay? My feet have gotten flatter. These knees aren't, they not heel, trained anymore. I'd rather be in some Crocs. I'd rather be in some sweatpants. So I don't do when I shop, I'm buying stuff like that. When I get off of here, I will, well, once I'm finally done for the day, I'm gonna have on a really like, not say spaghetti strap, but like a t-shirt type thing. Like, yeah, I just don't buy clothes like that. So yeah. All right. Any questions for me? Like, that's what I love to do, is I love answering questions. Oh, this is another part of it. I'm not like, people talk about social media and creating content. I feel like this is valuable information. And, well, I didn't, whoa, where did an hour and a half go at? Maybe that's the whole thing, right? Like, now people aren't on anymore because, like, who can really sit through an hour and a half? Like, we barely can sit through a show like that. I kind of talk for whoever kind of comes in. I don't really do this like in a time, like for me, I can sit here like and do this, but I didn't realize an hour and a half went by. But even when I try and do short form content, I don't really have a lot of people on. My numbers used to be a lot higher before. I don't know what it is. I used to pay for vidIQ, where it's supposed to help you with your not your thumbnails, your titles, your descriptions, your keywords. I paid those people faithfully for 3 years. I don't feel like it did anything. So it's not like from lack of trying, because I've paid. I wasn't afraid to spend money. I got the things, and it's just not that easy. And I'm like, I don't know what it is, where I went from where I had a lot of people watching to where now we're at 9 and 4. So yeah, this is a part of it. Like, they're going to say do content. And at some point, you might have some content that blows up. And it's going to be the thing that it's going to really help you get to that next level. But it's going to take a lot of grunt work. It's going to take creating a lot of content that won't get views. You're not, of course, you're not going to be making money when you first drop content. And for those who are able to do it fast, a lot of the times it comes with a lot of money behind it. I don't care what they tell you, they end up putting a lot of money behind it. There are some, like, they go and they spend money on ads. It might be for something else, but those ads still bring the initial eyeballs to them. They're spending $100, $500, $10,000, $30,000. Neo said that for advertising for this AI summit that they did, there was there was 7 figures put into just the advertising, not the production value, not the cost of the things that they gave away, just in the marketing part of it. 7 figures. It takes money. It's very hard to get there in a quick time just off of organic because of how these platforms work. And when there's more and more people who, I don't know who this is, my doorbell. More and more people who are now getting on these platforms and they want a piece of the pie, that number drops in how this money is distributed and being able to make money. They change the rules. They go, and before where it was like getting paid for reels, now it's like performance and is this and is that. Like everybody was trying to get into the reels and monetize that. Then they changed like that whole thing for like just reels, and now there's just performance, and then like they'll offer you things like stars. But most people are not. People, you'll tell you go in there and put, okay, I have stars. I can't tell you the last time I got a star because it requires you to go purchase it and then come in and drop a star on there with a comment to be able to pay me a few cents. I'd rather you go and just send that 10 cents, send that 25 cents directly to $HSINK 365, because like going all that back and forth, that ends up being like too much. But that number dwindles. These companies still only have but so much money in their marketing budget to be able to pay people out like for ads and things of that nature. The more people who are now eligible to have ads run on their stuff, this money, that they're not increasing their budget. Okay, well, we just have to spread this money out across all of these people so that number goes down. And when it gets out of hand, they change the requirements again. It might be that you now need, it's like a higher number of views, or now you need more subscribers, or you have to have, if they don't do like, they don't touch anything on the number of followers or subscribers and the number of views, the amount of content that you put out. We were in like in the morning meetup, we were talking about trial reels, and I have 3 different Instagrams. Only one of them is eligible for trial reels, and it's not the one that has the most followers. That one was based off of the type of content that you put out being eligible for it. So there's so many different dynamics of things to where no one can really give you like the full blueprint, because everything is different in your content. If the content that you're putting out is something that is kind of saturated, it's a lot harder for you to grow, which is why people do some really outlandish things just to be able to get noticed. And then you'll see that their content changes because they just want those eyeballs to kind of get the momentum going. And then they're able to switch up because then they're still pushing out their content. So it's like a back and forth. Know that a lot of times it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's luck. It's like you gotta have, like, you have to strike at the right time, and you never know. Like I put things out there and I'm like, well, how the hell did this go viral? Like, I mean, like the shares are crazy, 100,000 views, million views. I'm like, off of this, like that's crazy. You never really know what's gonna hit and what's not. So, but I like, okay, so wait, I'm very picky and I offer high quality. Lowering my prices just to get sales isn't for me. I turned down an order because they wanted me to charge less so they can make more when they sell it. Okay, now that's a little bit different. This is something that I also teach, that you can't. If you're doing, like, I don't know how many they order, how many units they were ordering, if it was a small amount, if it was a lot, but that's business. I mean, if they were selling something, they did right in trying to get a lower price, because in business, you should be trying to find, and if you can, if the window is there to negotiate to get it lower. In business, you want to buy low to sell higher to make a profit. So I can't even say that they are wrong in that. Now, if it's an end consumer, that's a little bit different. But that's the nature of the game. If they're going to sell it, they're going to want to go. They're doing right. That's business 101. So I can't even fault them on that one. But how I do shirts, me selling shirts to an end consumer. So when people are like, oh, what, your prices change from person to person? Yes, they do. And I have no problem saying, yeah, it does. because when it comes to like maybe like a single person in a shirt, you're getting a few shirts. I have to do this work. You have to do it a certain way. It can take more to produce less. But then if I have to do a larger order, I'm able to maybe get these shirts at a lower rate. I'm able to, especially if I'm doing screen prints. Oh, I'm gonna kill when it comes. DTF, you're never saving. That's one thing you have to know. You are not saving anything when it comes to DTF. They're gonna charge you the same amount no matter what. Like, you're not saving a whole lot whenever you're doing DTF. People push DTF transfers, and I hate it that those who are doing high production, that you are thinking that DTF transfers is the way to go, and it's not, and you are losing so much money because you're too lazy to do the math and really crunch those numbers to know that you're not doing better like by doing the DTF. Like, learn how to properly set up the screen print transfer and get a screen print transfer. You're gonna save money. The more you order with screen print transfers, the less it costs. So something like that, like it's if you're doing a larger number and you don't have to do as much. Like, you have some people that come in like they're ready to go. Sometimes they have their design, or it's like not a lot of this back and forth. Like, you're able to get it done faster, like from consultation to sale. Like, it's not a lot of back and forth on price. Like, well, I mean, they'll want to negotiate, but like when you have it set up and you have prices based off of, if it's for a business, if it's like bulk. Now, if they were just trying to order a few things, then like no. But if they're ordering like a significant amount, or if you have like a retainer, because I have companies that I do work for that most people never know that I end up doing it for them, but I order their transfers. Sometimes I'll order their blanks for them, and we get paid just to press it because they don't have the space for a heat press, or they don't have the time. Like, they want to be able to make money like while they're at work. So they go and they do all these, and they understand that part about business. And we're just charging them to press it. Things like that. There's a fee for that. But sometimes we just press it, they pick it up, and they do the full like, now what's the word I'm looking for? They will finish off, like they'll ship it out and like all of those things, and we charge less than what I would charge someone if they wanted that same exact shirt. And now I have to fold it, I have to do the marketing for it. I don't have to pay for marketing. Whatever your item is, I don't have to pay to produce the thing. And if it's something that's easy and it's like just on autopilot, yes, my prices are very different for businesses than they are for end consumers. Okay, but that's fine if you wanted your money. And she said, it was like, but I wanted my money. I will not take $2 per shirt for 20 shirts. And they said they're only getting $7 per shirt. Turning my press on costs more than that. Okay, there are certain things that it is too. So if you were doing something that is on a heat press, yes, it's going to cost you more. I don't know how, for 20 shirts, then that means that like $2, that's on them. If they were selling it only for $10, and now that's on them. They need to tell them to come to my class. They can learn how to price properly, because they should not be anywhere. Like, they should be way up there as far as like how, like the profit that they want, charge that. Like, if you were charging $5 instead of $2, then they need to increase their price by $3. Like, I'm not like, but what happens, so many people, they will just tell people a price and don't really know how much it costs. This is also because so many people hide their prices. They really don't know. They're guessing. They're using ChatGPT that's giving them these dumb figures and says, oh, the average cost of da 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 da. And ChatGPT, I'm going to say it's like a wrong answer, but they could be basing that off of the data that they're getting from larger corporations, because guess what? They have their prices on their website. All ChatGPT does is pull from internet places. So when someone goes and says, well, how much should I be paying for like a shirt? And it gives them this really low range. It's because more of these bigger companies have their pricing on their website, and they'll just give like an average based off of all of these sites that they've crawled. Smaller entrepreneurs, Y'all don't have websites. You don't want to put your prices. It's DM me for the price. So chat and Google, they have nothing to compare it to other than the big boys, which is why people have these unrealistic expectations. Y'all don't want to put out flyers online that says, my prices start at this. This is how you can eliminate a lot of the riffraff and going back and forth. You just kind of put this out there. Oh, contact me, DM me. And they have all these questions and you're mad at them because their expectation, they want it lower. You didn't give them a starting point. You could have put it up there and said, okay, these shirts start at 35. If that's too rich for their blood, they're not going to waste your time. But what it is, oh, some people, they want the sale. Oh, well, why aren't they're not contacting me? You know, it's like, you feel like, okay, then you want to change it and you want to not put the price on there. No, you're weeding out the people that you don't want. Then you now need to do other tactics to put your marketing with your prices in the face, put it in the path of those who are not going to bat an eye out. This is when you have to now look at yourself as an entrepreneur and what you are doing incorrectly. But for 20 shirts, yes, that is not considered bulk to be able to provide that unless it was something that was guaranteed. It's going to be like easy to do. I don't know if you were using DTF. I don't know if you were using sublimation. I don't know if you were using vinyl, if you were using screen print transfers. But for some, when it comes to shirts, they don't, as a customer, they don't understand the difference between heat applied graphics and ones that are screen printed. There are some people that will do a single color and it's like, well, now it's a little bit different. Like they'll probably be able to get away with a $2 shirt because they're also going to use the cheapest shirt possible that may have some inconsistencies and things like that. Some people don't care. Some people don't care if you give them a comfort color or you give them a Bella canvas. They don't care if you give them a next level. Like they're okay with a Gildan shirt. But we want to be like, well, I don't sell Gildan. I only do quality. If it ain't your brand and they want a lower grade shirt because they're like, this is like a one-time use shirt. This is going to eventually become car rags. This is going to become a nighttime shirt. Baby, I don't need Gucci quality for this happy birthday shirt. I don't need Gucci quality for my staff. Give them a Gildan shirt. They going to get oil on this. It's going to get ripped. I'm going to need a new one. I don't need a high quality shirt. I allow people. Pause. I'm going to show you right now. You think I'm playing? Hold on. I'm waiting for them to come pick these up. You think I care about where you got your shirt from? Because I'm charging you to create the design, put the design on there. You see what this says? This was in a pack of 6. It's George brand. They didn't care about this being something. They went to the store like, hey, look, this is within my price range. I want these shirts. I'm going to charge you the same, whether it was on a Gildan shirt, a next level shirt, a Bella canvas, a comfort colors, a cool whoever, American Apparel. Like, I don't give a darn what the shirt was. If it was a Hanes or Fruit of the Loom, my cost to put the design on, the artwork on it, there's a certain cost to that. The shirt part is different. So when people are like, oh, how can they go and sell a shirt for this? My blanks cost this. Well, that's because you're buying high quality blanks. They're selling to people who are like, baby, give me that shirt that I got to take, I got to cut the hole because they sold the shirt together. I'm about to take a seam ripper and just open that back up. Like, I don't care. It got a little hole underneath here. I don't care. I just need this for this little cancer walk. And I can cut this up and turn it into a rag to wash dishes, wash my car. I don't need it. But crafters, oh, I'm so high quality and I don't do cheap. Now, there's certain things I'm not going to do. I don't do Dollar Tree foam board. I just don't like the way it cut. It don't glue right. The paper come off. But for shirts, I have different shirts for different people's tastes. Certain things, I'm going to meet you where you're at because I'm still going to charge you the same amount to press this design to it. So 4 to 6 colors of HTV. That's something now that is different. That's not a single color. That's not, then they have, now this is where people need the education to know, like, this ain't no quick thing, whatever. For one, they definitely need to be, if they were selling it, they don't know about business. They need to be in a class. They need to be in our creative business class, or our e-commerce class about selling, and the fact that if you got 4 to 6 colors, whether it's HTV or whoever, whatever, they need to be paid. They need to be charging a whole lot more. Why are you not in the $30 range, $40 range, this, that, and the third? So then if it was 4 to 6 colors, I don't understand why you are cutting 4 to 6 colors. Why not do a DTF? And then for them to then see, hey, this is how much this costs. I'm very transparent with people. They want to go with, okay, look, even if you go buy did it yourself, this is the cost of the material. And yes, I am charging you to facilitate this order. This is what the transfer costs. But if I got to go and I got to put, do you know how to set it up? I got to set this. So I have a setup fee to set up your sheet. I have a fee for me to go ahead and press these. I have a fee for me to process this. I have administrative fees. So this what goes into the cost of it. So even if you were to go out, and I can show you exactly where to get these transfers from, you know how to set it up, you're going to go and do that, but you're still going to end up paying me for whatever time that I'm putting in. So now I got to go. I have to separate and sort your shirt colors, your shirt sizes. I have to now go and press it. I have to go and I have to check it and do all these. I still have things I have to do. Yeah, you're saving on that. But all of my prices are based off of the work that I do. So if you want to take that off of my hand and do this, one, you have to follow my rules in that you cannot, if you need 25 designs, oh, you bet not give me 25 designs. I'm going to reject it and you're just not going to get your shirts done. You are going to have to purchase extra designs. Why? But I need them because I'm human. Things happen. You have to purchase extra shirts. If you need 20 shirts, you can't bring me 20 shirts. If it's different sizes, you're going to have to bring me at least one extra of every single size if you want to bring them to me yourself. But you guys don't know how to run business. So it's like you are afraid of these situations. Oh, somebody can't bring something because you don't know how to, because you're just going to the person that says, oh, do this thing, learn this thing to make 6 figures. This is how you get to the bag. But they're not teaching you about business. And then you have someone that's willing to give you the game and help you not be stressed and give you the strategies. Y'all don't want to pay that money to be able to be in that room, but it's okay. Hey, Phyllis. Now, I have an opportunity for that 8 people that are on. If you are someone that needs that type of help, you need somebody to help you figure some things out. Is it going to be free? No, but I am going to allow you whatever you have to spare, because you got to put some skin in the game. Even if it's your last 5 and you know that you're giving up, and hopefully it ain't just $5, but if you were giving up your last to be able to get this information, I think you will value it more, where you had to really think about giving up that last 5 for this. But I have an opportunity where I would like to give someone an hour of my time to go through your business, what it is that you are struggling with. You got to be open to somebody maybe being a little critical of that shit dumb. Don't do that. I mean, everybody wants the person to be so nice and, oh my God, you ain't got to be so negative. Sometimes you got to have somebody who's like, no, that shit dumb. That ain't going to work. You're doing extra. Does this make, like, you need someone to go and show it to, does this make sense to you? What are your goals? What are you trying to do? How do you plan to get there doing it this way? Or someone to say, you doing too much. Slow down, pull back, learn this, perfect this, work on this thing. Give it time to grow and flourish. So I have that opportunity for someone, and you get to decide how much you want to spend for that hour. Now, it's only for today. So between now and the latest time that, like, if you are available, the latest time I would take someone is 8 p.m. But it can be right after this. Like, you're like, look, I'm ready. I'm home. Like, let's get started. Like 6 o'clock, let's hop on the call. You have an hour of my time. and you get to pick and choose how much you are going to pay. So all you have to do is email me at theprofessor at hsink365, the number 365.com. Let me know what it is that you want to go over. I will send you, I'll ask you, how do you want to send it? And I'm not going to ask you the cost. Hey, you'll just send it. I will send you the Zoom link and we will hop on a call. So the professor at hsink365.com, and you choose how much you can pay to get some help for an hour. Now, hopefully it ain't $5. Call somebody, make it 20. We like numbers that have 365 in or 563, but whatever that amount is, I want to be able to help you because I know that some people just need that help now. Just know that I'm not offering to do nothing, not a thing for. Oh, let's make this very clear. This is to help guide you and help you in a way, sometimes help you with your mindset, maybe help you with resources, tools, strategies that you can use. I'm not doing nacing for you because I'm expensive. For me to do it for you, I cost a little bit of coins, okay? I'm not a cheap date. I cost a little bit of coins, okay? You got to spend some money on me, all right? But I'm able to guide you. If it's something in like you're stuck on a design for like your brochure, your flyer, you have something to bring to the table and you want some help and some guidance, I'm here for you. Am I going to do it for you? Absolutely the hell not. It's not going to be this, oh, you're going to have to put in some work. I'm going to give you the guidance, the strategies based off of what I know, and then it's up for you to implement it. How fast you implement it, how aggressive you implement it will determine how well it works for you. But I ain't doing it for you. I'm just letting you know that it's for guidance, it's for help, it's for direction. If it's for you to figure out what website works for you, understanding, hey, are my prices in line? This is what I do. This is the quality of it. Are my prices in line? Whatever questions you have for an hour, you decide the price. The professor at hsink365.com. You have until 8 o'clock. I'm not getting on any Zoom call after 8, so I can get on one at 8 to go until 9. If you don't let me know when you pay before 8 o'clock, it won't happen, Captain. But it's available. Okay? Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.